Hey guys, it's your girl Vanessa. Welcome back to my channel and thank you guys all for tuning in again. So you guys, today I'm going to be talking about your next week and unexpected things that may be happening, things to look out for, just things that you may have not thought of that could very likely be affecting your next week. So I have 4 groups to choose from in this reading. So I want you to choose one of the 4 groups intuitively. As usual, I wanted to let you know that you may be a mixture of 2 groups. So if you feel like really compelled towards 2 groups, it may be helpful for you to watch both readings. Your personal reading may be a mixture between 2 readings. Hey guys, sorry for the creased shirt. I cannot get these creases out for the life of me, so sorry for my appearance today. But yeah, apart from that, if you like this video, do not forget to thumbs it up. And also, if you're new to my channel and you would like to see future readings, do not forget to subscribe. And yeah, you guys, that was it for the intro. I want to get straight into the reading. Alright guys, I would like to welcome you all to today's reading. As usual, this is group number 1, group number 2, group number 3, and group number 4. So I'm going to start off with group number 1. So in group number 1, we have the 4 of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the Queen of Swords. So in the 4 of Pentacles, I see for next week that you should make sure that you don't remain complacent and stagnant. I see that you may sort of be comfortable in your job, or you may be comfortable with just like how your life is going, and that may make you reluctant to try anything new or to sort of change something or to go for that better position or for a different job. So I see that what may be keeping you complacent and what may be causing this inertia is maybe just fear, fear of the unknown. And also you may be like just comfortable. Comfort is something that makes people stay. Comfort is something that, keeps you bound to what you're used to. So I see that you may be comfortable, which doesn't mean that, say, you have a lot of money or you have your dream job, but is comfortable enough for you not to want to get out of that zone, out of your comfort zone. So that is something that I see for you next week. Something is keeping you cushiony and comfortable. And you may want to try and take like steps out of your little zone, out of your little box and area. I see that if you remain like this, there's not really going to be any movement. I see that there is something that you can put extra work in, that will make you get out of your comfort zone. And because we're dealing with Pentacles, I'm thinking that this has to do with your career. So if you're in school, it could be like taking that extra class or putting in that extra time. If you're working, it could be, changing jobs or going for that higher position. I can see that there is something that you can reach for, but you're maybe not necessarily wanting to do it just because you're comfortable. So that is something that I see for next week. In the Page of Wands, I see that there is something that you're thinking about though. Like I see that something is tempting you. You have great ideas, you're adventurous, and you're curious. And I see that you may not be fulfilled in what it is that you're doing right now. And I see that there is something new that you want to start. There's something that interests you more than whatever it is that you're doing right now for your career or your job. I see that you want to take a leap in a new direction, but you're kind of worried because you have no idea what to do. You have no idea what you're doing or how it's going to work out. So the page is, it's either a very young person or the page is sort of inexperienced. So I see that whatever it is that you may be thinking of that, may get you out of this stagnant place, I see that you kind of don't know how you're going to do it yet. You're inexperienced in it and you're wondering how you're going to do it, but I see a lot of passion, I see a lot of drive, and I see energy here. So that is something really good. In the Queen of Swords, I see that for you, communication, logic, skills, you're a very smart person and all of those things are important to you. And you're not really one for sob stories. You're not really one for too much an emotional sobbiness. When it comes to business, when it comes to you getting something done, that takes priority. I see that you're a very efficient person, and you're a go-getter, and I can see in the Queen of Swords that, you know, your intellect, your just how like smart you are. I can see that that is something that you know, or that you should know, and that you should play on, and it will definitely help you in whatever venture it is that you're thinking of doing, and in whatever new direction it is that you're thinking of going. You just being who you are, I see that really helping in this new sort of venture. So something that I see that's important for you is, you know, to get out of that complacency, to get out of that space of not really moving. You've been hanging upside down and just, you've been stagnant for long enough. You've been moving slower than you could. I see that now is really time to give any sort of ideas that you have, or any sort of like passion that you have for a venture or a new life path that you want to start. I see that now is the time to do it, and you may easily get carried away by, you know, just being comfortable, but it's important for you to keep in mind that you need to constantly grow. You need to constantly, you know, be moving. Like, the world is constantly changing and evolving and moving, and you need to keep up. So that's something that I see that you may not have expected to do next week, just because you are sort of comfortable, but you know, it's time to do it. Then we have a groundhog spirit, time to let go. So yeah, I definitely see that everything is pointing in the direction of going with this idea that you have in your head, going with this new path, with this new thing that I see that you're scared of doing, but you know, it just keeps, it's in your head, okay? It's floating around in your head, and you've been complacent for long enough. Like, now is time to let go of that. Groundhog spirit wants you to know that, you know, you are supported, and you have family, friends, people who are behind you in case of anything going wrong. Like, you're not in this by yourself, and it's time to let go of fear and anything that has been holding you complacent and stagnant. You've been in this spot for long enough, and you've outgrown it. So it's time to let that old you go. It's time to start a new chapter. Then we have wolf spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. So one thing about wolf spirit is that it's trying to tell you to take all of the little bits and pieces of information that you have, you know, turn that knowledge into wisdom. Turn all of the things that you know into lessons. So I see that something that you may have not expected is that you need to acquire maybe new knowledge for something that you're trying to do. You have to learn something new. You have to perfect a new skill set. You need to really sort of like refine all of your skills and really perfect them. And I see that you need to turn all of the little life lessons that you've had so far, you need to like turn them into wisdom. I see that, you know, movement is important now. Movement is what is happening for you. Movement is inside of you. So in order to successfully move forward and get out of, you know, this complacency, to let it go, as Groundhog Spirit is telling you to, I see that it's very important for you to just use the wisdom that you've been taught so far, and, you know, make those smart decisions. Let the Queen of Swords like shine through. Let the Queen of Swords guide you and be like your leading foot on this path. I see that you being a logical and smart person is something that you're going to need to use, and it's going to be a very helpful trait for you the next week. Okay, so in group number 2, we have the Ace of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Cups. So what I see in the Ace of Pentacles is that, you know, the Pentacles is a earthly suit. It has to do with finances, time, money, all of that. And in the Ace, I see a new beginning for you next week. I see like a new leaf sort of turning. So the Ace of Pentacles is telling you to, you know, be a little bit more generous with people next week than you usually are, because that's going to attract a lot of positive energy, positive vibrations, and abundance into your life. So, you know, give that waiter an extra tip, you know, give the shop assistants a really warm smile. Just do little, nice things. They don't need to cost money, but they need to cost like effort or time or, maybe money, like tipping someone a little more. But you just need to put out vibes of you giving. That's something that I see that you need to focus on next week, to just give. And the ace is the start of a new journey. Start the journey on a positive note. I see that things might be changing for you financially in a very positive way, and in order to reap the most out of it, in order for the universe to reward you as much as it possibly could, I see that it is important for you to be grateful and to give. This is a time for you to be generous. And in the 10 of Wands, I see that you have been working hard, okay? It's not like you are getting this financial reward or, earthly reward for nothing. I see that you have been working hard, maybe even a little too hard. So I see that you really need to, figure out how to find a good balance. I see that maybe things have gotten a little bit out of balance, and next week you need to focus on getting the balance back. So I see that in your work life, which could be school or work or whatever it is that you do, it has gotten out of balance, and you're doing well in school, you're doing well in work. You may not notice it as much, but I see that you are doing well. However, you are also a bit tired and you're struggling with, just juggling all the things in life. So that is something that I see you needing to focus on next week, to really find that healthy balance. And then in the 10 of Cups, I see that next week is a time to celebrate with your friends and family, to really take care of those connections, of those emotional connections. I see that it is a time for you to take care of your relationships and for you to enjoy and celebrate all the relationships in your life. So it is a time of celebration. It's like a happy family sort of time. So I see that also you may be going to a sort of like family function or like a party with, people who you are close to, and just like a prosperous and emotionally prosperous time with other people. So make the most out of it, build your relationships. And if you are in a relationship, the next week is going to be, a beautiful time for you. You're going to feel that closeness all over again. And if you're single, this may be a time of completion where you get into a relationship or you meet someone who you're going to start a new journey with. So 10 of Cups, the 10 is a complete number. So you're celebrating and you're looking forward towards the next steps. Then in Armadillo Spirit, I see that nevertheless, you need to always keep in mind that setting healthy boundaries is imperative. So in the 10 of Wands, you may have been, a bit overworked and you may have taken on responsibilities of other people. And now is the time to set boundaries and say no. So even though you are being generous, don't let, anybody overwork you or give you an extra workload that you don't want to do. So being generous and giving is very different from taking on something that you don't want to, because this is you wanting to give. And this is you having to, or not really wanting to, but still doing it because you want to be nice. So, but now I see that you need to focus on yourself and getting your work-life balance intact, okay? So that is what I see that is very important. And Armadillo Spirit is telling you to set those boundaries and, say no. Don't be worried about making someone mad or letting someone down. You also need to take care of yourself. Then in Bobcat Spirit, I see that, life's a mystery, as in you may be wondering how everything is going to work out or how you're going to make that test, how you're going to hand in that project, because you may not have all the time that you wish you would. And you're just wondering how you're going to get everything done. But Bobcat Spirit is here to tell you that, life is a mystery and things will always work out for the better. as long as you put out the right sort of vibrations and, you know, you're good to other people, you're putting out positive vibes into the universe. That way you will receive a lot of, you know, energy, positivity. And there are always coincidences in life that, you know, just shock us. We're like, oh my God, everything worked out for the better. How did that even happen? And those are things that you just need to let work. Like, let the universe work for you. Let some things be a mystery that science cannot explain at this moment. So let all of those beautiful things flow and don't question it too much. You know, there are things that are just meant to be a mystery right now. Then we have wasp spirit. Yeah, sometimes you need to learn the hard way. You know, sometimes people deceive you. Sometimes people, like, you feel like you're reading signs of someone having interest. However, it's not like that. So I see that in the Ten of Cups, like, it could be that a love interest somehow turns out to not really be it. Or maybe like a friend, a relationship, someone like deceived you. And, you know, life stings, like things like that sting. Or you may have been really hard on yourself and judging yourself, and that stings too. So I want you to remember next week to make sure that, you know, you're in control of how hard life stings you, and don't keep any sort of like anger or resentment or fear, because in the end you're just going to hurt yourself. And if you just like bottle up negative emotion, you're not going to get the most out of next week. So make sure that in wasp spirit, you remember that yes, like life sometimes does sting, but to a certain extent you have control. So take control and set boundaries. That way you can get everything back into a good flow and you can get the work-life balance that you've been wanting. Okay, so in group number 3, we have the World, the Nine of Swords, and the Three of Cups. So for next week, I see completion. I see a very prosperous time. I see you finishing something, completing something, bringing something to an end. So that can be a chapter of your life, that can be a chapter in your belief system, that could be like a breakup, but not like the raw stages of a breakup. It could be you letting go of someone and being at that stage where you realize that life was way better without them anyways. So I see that in the world, this is a time for you, you know, to celebrate and to be happy that you've come as far as you have. Like, remember where you were a year ago, where you were 2 years ago, and just look at where you are now. So that is what I see in the world. Like, this is really a week of you realizing just how far you've come and just how prosperous life has been to you, and you know how much further you can go. So even though the world stands for completion and you sort of, you know, finishing something up, rounding something up, at the same time you're still looking forward ahead to your next journey, to the next path that you want to take. And you know, it's just important for you to celebrate and enjoy the moment, because you know, you don't always want to be looking ahead and not living in the moment, but at the same time, you know, be prepared to start your journey from zero again. So if you're completing something next week and, you know, you're done with something, be prepared for a new set of adventures to start. Then in the Nine of Swords, I see that you may be plagued next week by either like maybe you have nightmares, or you're very worried about something, you're very unsure, something is like tormenting you a little bit. That could be because you know that something is completed and you know it's been successful, and now you're so worried of making the next thing a success. Like, you're so worried of passing that next test, you're so worried of starting that new venture or that new project at work, or you know, just starting new work in general. So I see that something is really worrying you and that time is on your mind. I see that you may kind of feel like there isn't enough, like there aren't enough hours in the day and you just won't have enough time to get things done. And it's just like a lot for you. So even though the Nine of Swords is a difficult card, you chose this reading for a reason. You know, there are coincidences, meaningful coincidences that you can't explain with science. So this might just be the coincidence that you need it to not let, you know, fears plague you, because I see that this is just stems from fear. I see that this is all mental. This is nothing that has fabricated into the real world yet. So this is just you, you know, mentally stressing, just you tormenting yourself. And like I said, you know, you clicked this reading for a reason. So know that this is just mental stress, and it's more important for you to celebrate what you've achieved and, you know, not stress about what's going to come next. Because in the Three of Cups, I see that you have an amazing support system. I see that emotionally, it is a great week for you. I see that you'll be celebrating with friends and family, or if you feel like celebrating, you know, it'll be easy for you to get them to tag along. And it's just like an awesome time of you with, you know, 2, 3, 4, like however many friends you want to be with, for you to just spend time with friends and family, with those relationships that you know are really important to you in life. So I see that in order to sort of overcome the Nine of Swords and the worrying, you need to focus on the good, and you need to focus on like really nourishing your relationships and celebrating. I see in the World and in the Three of Cups that you may forget to celebrate all of your big and little achievements, and now's the time to do it. So don't forget about achievements, no matter how tiny they are. If you have achieved something, celebrate it, share it with people, because the people who love you and care about you are, you know, going to be just as excited as you are. So make sure that you keep that in mind for the next week. Then we have the Otter Spirit. So that ties in beautifully with the Three of Cups. You know, you're never alone, and that's something that you need to keep in mind with the Nine of Swords. If you're having nightmares or some sort of like mental, something going on mentally, you know, confide in someone. Like you can see like the heart here. So that might mean that it is time for you to confide and trust in someone who you love and who you know loves you. You know, that could be your mom, your dad, your cousin, your brother, your sister. Just speak to someone who you know will give you like that feeling of being nourished, of being loved, or like warmth. It may be time to talk about like those fears that you have of the upcoming stages in your life. So speak to someone, because you're never alone. Then we have Sandpaper Spirit. So be playful. So in all of your celebrating and all of your happiness, remember to just keep it light, keep it playful, and be yourself. You know, that's something that I find very important, and that's something that Sandpaper Spirit really stands for. I mean, look at this goofy little bird, and he's just being himself, and you know, he's rocking it. And that's what I see you needing to do. You know, just be yourself. And even if you feel like you're a very awkward person, or you're sort of goofy or not very cool, it doesn't matter. As long as you embrace yourself, no one's gonna point fingers at you and think like, oh my god, that person is so not cool, or that person is so goofy. I mean, that's not gonna happen. Like the goofiest and weirdest people, as long as they're confident, no one points that out. I mean, there's so many goofy, weird people out there, and you know, we love them. We love them for who they are, because they embrace themselves without any fears. And that's something that I see you needing to do next week. I see you needing to be playful, and I see you needing to be yourself and not be self-conscious, because as soon as you're self-conscious, other people will take on to those vibrations. They will feel those vibes coming from you, and that's when people start to think, oh, that person is weird, that person is goofy, that person is awkward. So as long as you're confidently yourself and you know, you remain playful, I see that that is the way for you to go next week. And then we have Horse Spirit. So freedom is yours as long as you can be yourself. I see that there is so much out there that can be conquered by you, that you know, there is so much freedom out there, be it financially, be it, you know, health-wise, wealth-wise. I see that that freedom is yours as long as you can be playful and be yourself. So in horse spirit, I really see that it's important for you to not limit yourself, or to not think that your range of possibilities is somehow like limited or has a certain time frame or size. It is time for you to really explore all of the areas, all of the things that you've ever wanted to explore. You know, be wild, get out of your comfort zone, get out of the area that you're used to, maybe travel, maybe go for a weekend trip or go to a new part of town. You know, do something to get the vibration of freedom flowing in you. And I see that that will attract a lot of abundance into your life as long as you show the universe, you know, that you're free, you're playful, you can be yourself. I see that that will start an amazing new journey for you after you've just, you know, had your completion. And like that, you won't have to be so worried about the Nine of Swords. So keep freedom in mind and being yourself. Okay, so group number 4, we have the Three of Pentacles, the Two of Swords, and the Two of Wands. So a lot of twos going on here, a lot of duality, a lot of, you know, light and dark, male, female. So a lot of things that have to do with balance. So, but first off, in the Three of Pentacles, I see that this is a time of, you know, you planting new sort of ideas, of you starting new things. I see that this is a prosperous time for you. So next week, make sure to refine your skills and really put them into work for you. And I see that you may be doing some sort of like team activity, you know, there may be other people involved. And now is a time where teamwork flourishes as long as, you know, you all do what you're best at. So I see that it's really time for you to put that like extra gear in, for you to move forward and, you know, put that work in. You know, you're not a lazy person, but I see that there is more that you can do, and next week is the time to do it. And next week is a time of amazing teamwork, okay? So I see working in a team being a great idea. So if you have the option of doing something with somebody else, be it, you know, at work or at school, try and do like a team effort. Try and have that happen. Then in the Two of Swords, I see, you know, the moon, I see water, so your subconscious and your intuition. The moon is basically like stands for your intuition. Your eyes are tied, so you're blindfolded basically, and you know, the road is pointing in two directions. So you have a choice. You have a choice between A and B, between yes and no, between light and dark. And now is the time for you to make that decision intuitively and, you know, with your subconscious. I see that you're not going to get any extra information. You're not going to be spoon-fed what to do. This is a time for you to make a decision. So that could either be, you know, who you want on your team, how you're going to move forward in whatever venture it is that you're doing, whatever like project it is that you're into right now. I see that it's time for you to make that call on, you know, how to move forward, who to move forward with, and you know, just generally what to do. I see that it is up to you, and as long as you don't make a decision, as long as you don't follow your like intellect, your logic, your subconscious, you know, what your body is telling you, as long as you do not do that, you are going to remain stagnant. So it's definitely a time for you to push, to move forward, to make a decision, to work really hard. And then in the Two of Wands, I see that, you know, even though you're still basically like early in your journey, early on this path, I see that, you know, you're already sort of looking forward at possible obstacles. You're already pre-planning. That is a great thing for you to do next week. So next week, don't just focus on the next week, but try and plan for the upcoming weeks. Try and get things done, and just try and look out for what sort of obstacles might be in the way. And that way you can already sort of, you know, prevent things from going wrong, or prevent things from happening that you would rather not happen. So that is something that I see in the Two of Wands. Then in Turtle Spirit, slow and steady wins the race. So even though you need to get things done, even though you need to move forward and make decisions, don't forget that it's not good to do anything hastily. It's not good to rush any work. It's not good to rush into a relationship if that is something that, you know, you're thinking of getting into. I see that if you want to move forward in a relationship with a person, I see that you might need to slow down, because, you know, slow and steady is always better than like rushing into it and not really like getting to know the situation or the person. And the same goes for your work or your studies. So it's better to like do things gradually and consistently rather than, you know, do everything in a short amount of time or without a lot of time left and stressed out. Like, you don't want to do that. So try and space things out, try and plan things, try and plan ahead, and do things really slow and steady. So it might be overwhelming to sort of sort out your whole next week, but it will be super beneficial for you to just, you know, plan things out and then slowly but steadily get each thing like checked off your list and each thing done. Then in Frog Spirit, I see that it is time to let go of a few things. So if you look around right now and you have things around you that you're either not using anymore or you don't like or that are not beautiful, it's time to clear out the clutter. It's time to get rid of anything that is not beautiful or not useful, basically, or that's just what I live by. So for me, anything that isn't useful or beautiful is a clutter and it has got to go. And that could also be a friendship. So you don't need to gain anything out of a friendship. If you just have a beautiful friendship, that is, you know, a friendship that you want to sustain. But if you're not learning anything from the person and it's not a beautiful friendship, you might have to let go of that friendship or that relationship. So I see that you may have a bit more clutter than you need right now, and next week, like, clean it out, get rid of it. Like, it's only stopping your productivity and it's only stopping your workflow and abundance. You know, the universe likes clear messages, and if you have things around you or people around you that don't resonate with who you are right now, that might have been you in the past or might have never truly resonated with you, those are mixed messages that you're sending out into the universe, and that way abundance will just trickle through to you instead of like flowing straight down to you. So make sure that you clear out the clutter in order for abundance to flow. Then in Rabbit Spirit, I see that now is a lucky time. So you may have recently felt like you've sort of been a bit unlucky or things haven't been going exactly how you wanted them to go. And that's fine. You know, we can't make things go the way they should, but I see the next week is a lucky time. So I feel like you may just have like a lucky coincidence, as in like finding like 20 bucks in one of your pieces of clothing or on the floor, or like it may be a lucky time as in, you know, just work is flowing well, school is flowing well, you're getting good grades, your love life is coming to where you want it to be, like you're sort of luckier than usual. There are like more amazing coincidences in your week than usual. So that is something that I see for next week for you. I see a very like prosperous time where there are a lot of like little coincidences that you're just like, huh, I have a lucky week. So yeah, overall what I see for group number 4 for next week is to just clear out the clutter, you know, take things easy, do them slow and steady, but do things well. So that is like the main mindset that I think is important for you for your next week. Okay guys, so that was it for today's reading. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to thumbs it up. And yeah, I hope you guys all have an amazing, positive, prosperous week. May, you know, all the good fortune that I predicted come true for you. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video.